Boxing Truth here, back with another video. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Alright, let's talk about the narrative surrounding Shakur Stevenson's boxing lesson over Oscar Valdez. The real boxing fans know what Shakur Stevenson should do. The fans who are maybe have no faith in Shakur moving in the lightweight division are seeing a different narrative. And Bob is just spitting out the truth in this very hot article that just came out on Boxing Scene. And, the truth hurts sometimes. But Aaron ain't lying when it comes to this, in this situation. I mean, who gives a fuck about unification fights with Agawa and Gutierrez? I mean, let's be real. Have you even seen those guys fight? I've seen them fight. But those are the fights that are not going to define Shakur Stevenson's legacy. Those are not the fights that are going to bring the massive eyeballs to the sport. They're pretty much who cares unification fights. Look, you don't have to be undisputed in every division. There's a situation where you may want to become undisputed, where the champion is a big name, a big figure in the sport. He's the top dog. If you can do it in one fight, become undisputed, that's great. But if you got two unknown who cares champions, what is the point? And with Bob putting up the money for these fights and investing in these fights, of course he's gonna be like, well, what's the point of making these fights? They don't draw shit. I ain't gonna make a profit. Let's move on to bigger fish to fry, or he'd rather make an in-house fight where he doesn't have to split the cut with a unknown Japanese champion who he doesn't represent, he doesn't promote. At the end of the day, this is business before sport. I know Shakur wants to be undisputed, but it's not up to him. He's not the one putting up the money for these fights. Bob and ESPN are, and they're gonna go the direction where the fights that brings the most eyeballs or makes the most sense going forward. Right now, those fights just bring no appeal, man. Gutierrez, Agawa, those are not the fights that are gonna build Shakur Stevenson to a bigger star. So who should Shakur Stevenson fight next? If he's gonna stay at 130, this is the guy he should fight next. Emmanuel Navarrete, a guy you've seen before, a guy you know, in his prime, has the physical size to at least challenge Shakur Stevenson. He'll be outmatched in terms of boxing skills, but he's gonna try like hell to give Shakur a stern challenge, and it won't be an easy fight for Shakur. This guy would try a lot harder than Valdez, and he has the true Mexican style, where Valdez is more scientific, but he tried to be a boxer pocket counterpuncher against a guy who's longer and rangier than him, and it's not gonna work. This guy, he's gonna come forward, he's gonna throw a lot of punches, he's gonna try to Maidana Shakur Stevenson, which is the type of style that's more successful against that boxing slick style, range style. The Swarmers usually can compete with those type of styles. A guy that just doesn't give a fuck, just goes for broke and throws a lot of punches. But yeah, this is the fight that makes a lot more sense. It's a more attractive fight, it's a bigger fight, and it's a more challenging fight for Shakur than Oscar Valdez. But if he's gonna stay at 130, the Conceição fight doesn't interest me, but I get it. It's an in-house fight. Bob Arum promotes Conceição. He doesn't have to split any co-promotion with anybody. It's a guy that's been on ESPN before, but I don't like that fight either. I mean, he lost to Valdez. I don't think it was close, but I didn't think Valdez lost that fight, even though a lot of people feel Conceição did win that fight. So that fight doesn't make sense to me either. But what is the hesitation from some fans about Shakur moving up to lightweight? I mean, don't you want to see fights that matter? Well, who gives a fuck about unknown unification fights? I mean, Floyd was never undisputed. He picked up belts in different divisions against some recognized names and then moved up. Didn't hurt his legacy. There's a lot of fighters that never became undisputed. It didn't hurt their legacy. I mean, it all depends. Is the champion a big name? Is it a popping division? If it's not, then you gotta look for the bigger glory out there. And right now, the lightweight division is where all the glory is. It's where all the money is. I mean, why would you not want to see Shakur Stevenson against the winner of Kambosos and Devin Haney? Haney's with Top Rank now. Don't you want to see that fight? Why not potential fights with maybe Gervonta Davis if he grows a pair and fights somebody real? Why not a Lomachenko fight? This is one of the best fights that could be made in boxing style-wise. Lomachenko Shakur is a great fight. Lomachenko will find a way to get in on that range and get past that jab. And he'll challenge Shakur inside fighting game. This is a great fight. And Lomachenko at 34 can still hang with the young lions. I don't know what's going on in his situation, but if he's going to be back soon or not, but this is one of the best fights that could be made for Shakur. These are the fights that are going to define his legacy. These are the fights that are going to propel him higher to the pound-for-pound list. Not these who cares fights that Bob was talking about here. I mean, he ain't lying. He ain't lying here. There's not a person in this room that knows who the WBA. He's right, unless you're a nerd boxing fan. And I barely seen Gutierrez fight. I've seen Agawa fight a couple of times. He's a good fighter, but he's with the Zone. He's with Eddie Hearn, and he's not a big name. So it is what it is. So I don't understand what's with the hesitation about Shakur moving up. I don't know. It sounds like I ain't got no faith in him moving up in the lightweight division. This is where the competition is at. This is where he's going to be truly challenged. Well, unless y'all scared that this guy's going to come back and maybe expose Shakur Stevenson. I wouldn't count Loma out in that fight. He has the style to get in and make it very interesting. Well, I'd love to see that fight. Those are the fights that are going to define Shakur. Those are the fights you should be going after. It's about glory, man. It's about the prize, and it's about glory. And these are the fights that are going to turn Shakur Stevenson into maybe the next generation great fighter. But we'll see. I mean, he had a favorable matchup this past Saturday. It was a very good win. He boxed very well. He cleanly outboxed him. Took it, just took Valdez apart. But there's more competition out there. There's better competition out there. And these are the fights that are going to define how great Shakur Stevenson is. But hey, I don't understand the hesitation. I don't understand the negativity. Like, look, Bob's telling the truth, man. Like, why are you hating on Bob? I mean, like, I wrote, like, Bob is right. It's time to move up or bring up Navarrete. Just look what I get. This guy says I'm racist. What the fuck does race got to do with it? Yeah, I'm a boxing fan. I want to see the fights that matter. I want to see the fights that I care about. And nobody cares about Shakur Stevenson against Agawa. I'm sorry. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.